So, hey, Eric, how are you?
Hey, how are you, Damien?
So you got venues all around the world: New York, Los Angeles, Singapore, Sydney, and COVID-19 all around the world, coincidentally. I blame
Correct.
you. No, no, so,
I could be traced. I'm the suit now.
We're all aware of how the COVID-19 epidemic has affected us in our places where we live. But for an international perspective, I've had a chat with Eric Lincoln from Employees Only to see how it's impacted them in New York, and then also how that's contrasted with the impacts in other places around the world where they've got bars. It was a really interesting conversation, so let's go over to Eric.
what are you hearing differently about how different places are being impacted, and how's that working across the EO chain?
Obviously, it's a very unfortunate event. It's global. It's impacted the industry tremendously and people's lives, and it's a horrible thing. And hopefully, we're starting to see the light at the end of this long tunnel. How it impacted us first is, and we're fortunate enough to be a global brand, is Singapore was definitely affected first, and they were ready. As you would expect, Singapore is a very well-run country, much smaller than the United States and Australia, but government has hands on everything, so they jumped on it first. So we definitely had contact with my partner over there, Igor, and our staff over there and our managers to sort of get a little bit of a jump on it. You know, we were told by our government in the US that everything's gonna be fine and nothing's gonna change. But I think just from having all that contact and seeing it spread throughout Europe and Asia, we sort of had to jump on it. Our biggest thing was just staying authentic to the brand while being safe and keeping our staff and obviously our clientele in good health. So yeah, it impacted us a lot, but I do think we had a little bit of a jump on it. We were having calls about it prior to New York shutdown, about what the plan is for March, what the plan is for April, what the plan is for June, you know, and on and just kind of, as we've always done, having plan B, plan C, plan D. Obviously, we didn't know it was going to be about over a year now, or almost a year, but nobody did.
So Singapore functioned like a warning for you, like a leading indicator of what was going to happen in the US.
It did. We had open
and
open dialogue between each other, as we always do. As the managing partner of all the operations, I'm in constant contact with all my partners and all the managers of all of our businesses, just checking in day to day. And obviously, like I said, Singapore they were really on top of it. They had a lot of great protocols, as they always do with things. They had a little more experience with pandemics as well, not a global one to the size, but they had some experience years past with the bird flu and all that stuff. So yeah, it definitely gave us a leg up, I think. Again, it didn't get us in clear and near. New York is completely different, Sydney obviously as well, and LA. But it definitely gave us a little bit of a jump.
So did you have to do things differently in each of the businesses?
We did. Yes. All the regulations were different in every part of the United States in the beginning. New York being the most constrictive in the beginning, and then Los Angeles jumped on it as well. Singapore closed for the least amount of time. I believe it was 3 months. We were just doing takeout. Again, they were way ahead of it. New York, we were given about, I want to say 4 days notice that we would be shut down permanently. Los Angeles wasn't much more than that. So it's really hard to pivot in those situations. Again, we had talked about it, but not knowing what was going to happen. We knew, again, that we wanted to keep the authentic brand alive, and didn't think of us as much of a takeout, especially in New York kind of place. That's just not what we're known for. The energy is impossible to bottle and send it at home. Some places were able to do that, and obviously that was great for them. And how to take care of our staff, which is always our number one thing. Those were some devastating calls to do after the shutdown, but necessary. And we were completely transparent. You know, we're going to take it day to day, week to week, month to month, and see where we can go. But as we always said to them and all the operations, that their safety and our clientele was number one, not the business, and hopefully that we could survive through it.
So that raises a couple of interesting questions. So what do you do when you're given 4 days notice?
Cry a little bit, drink way too much tequila. No, you just prep. I mean, we were transparent with everyone. It was kind of, I don't even think it was 2 days. I think it was 1 day. I remember our last Saturday of our operation. I could feel it coming because it had been hitting Italy really hard. And you could just feel it looming no matter what the news said. Oh, US won't have to shut down. I believe I got that email from on Sunday morning, and we started talking about shutting down the place. We're kind of like, there's always a body in our place 24/7. We're open 7 days a week, 6 p.m. to 4 a.m. And then the cleaning crew comes in, and then I come into the office, or somebody comes into the office. So we had to figure out how to actually close the place down. We had never done it. So it was interesting, other than for one holiday a year. So that was an interesting thing, cleaning up the shelves, locking up. We didn't even have an alarm system. I mean, we do now, but because there was always somebody there, so that was a big deal. Yeah, I think it was prepping but also prepping to tell the staff, and being, again, completely transparent with them in these times of uncertainty. Yeah, that was it. We didn't have a full-on game plan, but we definitely did have, plan B and C of what we were going to do.
And what do you do with stock and things like that?
I mean, luckily liquor does not go bad if it's stored properly. And we didn't know how long it was going to be. I had some unrealistic coworkers that were like, oh, it's going to be a week or two, a month at the least, at the most. And I was like, no, I think this is a pretty serious thing. I think it's a global pandemic is a pretty big thing. I mean, obviously the food we gave to the staff, which again is our number one priority. We gave it to the staff, and we had a lot of chicken soup. We freeze some of it because we did go through it every night. So we gave that out to the community in a safe social distance. You can pick up at our door, you call ahead. Yeah, anything that was perishable, we gave away to staff members and local community.
Yeah, I was in Brisbane about a month ago when they had one case. I mean, in Australia the numbers are tiny. One case had come in of this British, very highly contagious variant of COVID-19. So they did a 3-day lockdown. And there was a restaurant just up from where I was staying on the river, and there was this little Italian place, and they just put a trestle table out the front, and they were selling things like open bottles of half a bottle of house wine for $2. And they were selling off all their gelato, all the stuff that wasn't going to last 3 days. They were just selling it off to anyone for anything, basically, just trying to get a bit of cash in, I think.
No, that's smart. And listen, I think luckily, because of the foundation we had built, we've been through a lot. New York, especially, we had a flood. I lived through 9/11. I saw what it did to our business and how devastating it was. We've had panics on snowstorms where they shut everything down, the mayor. And so we're used to, having to have a game plan. And I feel like financially was not our biggest concern, which we were blessed to be in that situation. Yeah, like I said, we gave away the product. We were not looking to sell it. We were looking to be socially responsible. There was so much out there. The science wasn't true. You didn't know what to believe. It was a different story every day. So I didn't want to put anyone in jeopardy. Even the close down, I didn't have really any staff come in. It was just me and our current general manager and maybe one bartender. And yeah, we drank some of that wine that was going to go bad, and drank some of those beers that probably weren't going to have the shelf life. But for the most part, like I said, we gave it to our staff members, and I think that was the right call. I totally applaud the people that were creative, maybe more creative than us, to sell their wines or sorbet, or gelato. But we didn't think that. We just wanted to get it shut down, and then kind of from our bunkers of our apartments kind of and houses, reassess what the next game plan was, and which we did. So
what lessons should hospitality be taking out of an experience like this? There must be some resilience lessons that I imagine people whose businesses have survived this are going to take forward with them.
Yeah, I think there's if people didn't garner a different perspective on life after all this, no matter what industry you're in, yeah, then you miss the whole point of this, I think, and the big picture of it. For sure, I think for our industry directly, it is to sort of think outside the box. I've lived my life that whole way. You jokingly said I travel a lot and I might have started this, but yeah, I as a person, I have always tried to not have any constraints on life. My wife and child right now, they were doing world school when the pandemic hit. So I used to travel so much. So they were in Bali, and then they were in Mexico, and then they were in Thailand. So just not limiting yourself. And I think that's an important thing to bring that perspective into this business. When you limit yourself in this business, you won't make it. You have to be able to turn on a dime. You have to be able to roll with whatever comes next. This is not going to be the next thing that hits small businesses or this industry or the world. Let's be real. So I think just having that bigger grand perspective will get you through this, and having great partners. I have the greatest partners. We lean on each other for personal things, for work things, obviously. And I think we are able to talk through anything. We've been through so much together, and it's just really important. And obviously our team is so supportive. I was almost in tears when our first Zoom call, but they were so supportive. They got it. And they were so appreciative that we were not, trying to find a way just to keep the business afloat. We were more concerned about keeping them safe. And obviously the business is, if we can't come back, that's a big component, but we felt confident as owners and as operators that we could find a way and do it in a way where it's safe and come out of this stronger than ever. And I believe we will. I know we will. And I think the better operators will as well. We've learned so much. There was so much broken already in this industry, people just not operating in a realistic way. And I think hopefully people have learned from that and gotten stronger. It's obviously not the way we all wanted to learn that, but it's something we've always had, I think, a higher perspective on and put more thought into as a business. We are a business. It's fun. I love it. The energy, the staff, everything. But if we can't pay the rent or the taxes, it's no longer a business. It's a failed business. And I think that's something you always have to be thinking about. And like I said, just always thinking outside the box, always pivoting. If you're doing the highest numbers you've ever done, think about how you can do more. Don't be complacent. Complacency kills everything. It kills relationships. It kills everything. It kills businesses. And you have to always be thinking about the next step. And I think that's something we do better than most. And I think it's something that everyone can do. It's not something you have to study to learn how to do. It's just knowing that, like, yeah, you had a good Wednesday. Well, guess what? Thursday is going to bring new challenges. Let's get ready for them. What are we going to do better? What are we going to fix? And I think that's something we've always done. And luckily our staff has believed in our teachings and grown with us. And also that's another thing, listen to your staff. They have brilliant ideas. Don't close any door. I listen to other, listen to your purveyors, what they need. Listen to other operators, this is a supportive business. If you can't learn from your sisters and brothers that are operating around you, the things that they're doing better from you and grow with that, then you're missing the whole big picture of it.
I think there's the lesson. Complacency kills businesses.
It does. Kills everything. Can't be complacent.
Yeah, I think let's leave it there. Complacency kills businesses.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
Can you hear that leaf blower in the background?
No, I can't hear anything. I'm worried about how I sound.